My name is Eleonora Carnasa and I'm a former service designer. A few years ago I became a frequent visitor of the emergency rooms in Sofia. I was having panic attacks, my heart was racing, the terror would come in, and everything looked fine, but it didn't feel fine. So this uncertainty led me to an unexpected journey, which I'm going to tell you about now. As a former service designer, I was trained to deal with complex systems, to decipher systems. But I couldn't decipher my own system, what was going on with my body. And I used to think that our decisions shape our life. But gradually I started to believe that it's actually our biology that shapes our decisions. For more than 20 years I worked with organizations trying to understand human behavior, to map journeys, to identify patterns, to solve complex problems, to decipher these systems. But again, as I said, I couldn't decipher my own system, and my blood tests were fine, my scans were fine, I even had a colonoscopy, all fine there. Everything looked fine on paper, but it didn't feel fine. So when your data and your experience tell you a completely different story, you start questioning the system. At the same time, my father was fighting cancer, and I couldn't understand that either. I couldn't understand why two bodies have different outcomes. One stays healthy and one doesn't. So people with similar lives but different outcomes. And for the first time in my life, I faced such a complex system that I couldn't really understand. And it wasn't an organization, it wasn't an experience, it wasn't a system, it was the human body. And this fascinated me, and I became really obsessed with understanding what's going on in our body. So I did what every researcher does when we are facing uncertainty. I started researching all these topics that you see on the slides. Fascinated me, and gradually it started like personal questioning, but gradually it became a career, a mission, and a new company. And for many years I've been trained to think that what stays behind some human challenges is a lack of knowledge, a lack of motivation, lack of discipline, certain mindsets. But then I started doubting this paradigm and to believe that it's biology that is shaping all these behaviors. I'll give you an example. Have you ever had an argument with your partner over something very trivial like dirty dish? Back then you were convinced that they don't respect you, that they don't care about you, that it's the relationship is going down. But sometimes it's just low blood sugar and high adrenaline that make us very reactive and change our personality. Or have you ever felt stressed and overreacting over simple emails, and you think it's your stressful life, or you're just not resilient enough, but actually it could be low magnesium that is controlling the brakes of your nervous systems, and again is making you more jumpy and more confrontational. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. thinking that your life is a catastrophe and your life is going down, but maybe it's your just blood sugar and your body is trying to regulate your blood sugar by elevating stress hormones, and it's making you way more pessimistic. So you're a perfectly reasonable person by day and pessimistic by night. Have you ever blamed yourself about being lazy or lacking motivation? Maybe it's just low iron failing to deliver enough oxygen into your brain, and this is making you, of course, making every simple task look very overwhelming. Or you probably forget a word in the middle of the presentation and you think it's just because you're aging. Actually, it could be a nutrient shortage, like B vitamins and omega-3s are the building blocks of your brain hardware, and without them your brain fails to send the right signals. Or maybe you think that you make a reasonable choice whom to trust, you use your logic. Actually, it's your biology making this decision long before you asking the question, am I safe with this person? And only then your logic arrives at the scene. What about appetite? We think it lives in the stomach. Well, it doesn't. It's the most complex design system on earth. And what we want to eat is actually regulated by our blood sugar, by our reward system, by our stress hormones, by sleep, and probably many other things that we are not aware yet. And starving and willpower. We think we can control our cravings in the afternoon, for sugar cravings. We think it's about being strong. But actually, if I tell you that hormones like leptin, cortisol, ghrelin, and dopamine are voting, and long before by the time your willpower arrives at the scene, the voting is already over. You cannot control it. Already decided. So I used my design background to build a solution, not to control the body, just to stabilize the internal signals. And I created Peace with Food, which is a formula with 9 clinical ingredients to steady blood sugar, to count the cortisol, and to regulate appetite from within. That was fast. And yeah, what I wanted to say that the solution, actually the product, it's not the capsule, but it's the understanding behind it. What are the mechanisms behind the appetite? Why we feel hungry? Why we lack energy? Why we lack motivation? Why our body sometimes is not responding the way we want it to. So what started as a personal search for answers about health gradually transferred into me questioning everything we know about human behavior. So I wanted to dig deeper and to help people with my newly acquired understanding. So now, instead of designing products and services for humans, I think that I can help humans become the better version of themselves. And understanding biology is probably the greatest, the most powerful design tool we have. Thank you.